friends, they used to laugh at me. Used to show them on my record something casually. Used to say it was a passion, I'm a path to be. Then they told me that I couldn't, so I had to be. Tell me what they really think about it now. Used to hate it, but I guarantee they're proud. Had to do it just to show them that I could, yeah. Now I finally think I took it where I should, yeah. Had a jokes on you and now you're on and laughing. I did a whole lot of winning. Look, it came from a passion. I see a whole lot of knowings I could see out in public, and that may think a lot of things. Man, at least think something, now you the judge. Hey, now tell me where you ended up. Yeah. Look, I bet it was a simple job. Yeah. Look, I went and took a different route. Yeah. Look, that's why my life is different now. Back in my feelings, look, when I wasn't so gifted and I was learning to do this, and all I heard were the critics, and now I'm playing for that shit. Look, I was way out the basis, but I just needed some talent so I could wait this to greatness. Oh yeah, you ain't never think this, no, no, no. Stop me while I started, homie, whoa, whoa. Now this shit settled, just go better and better. I'll always remember, yeah, yeah.
Welcome back. It's your boy C-Rock here on That1 Podcast. We're here in Phoenix, Arizona. Every time I get off the plane here in Arizona, I'm like, why don't I live here? I love the feeling of it. Today, I'm here with Dr. Paul Barattiero, and it's an Italian last name. We all mess up Italian last names for some reason. That's why they call me C-Rock. But anyway, we're here. Dr. Paul, thank you so much for flying down here, man.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. I said I was coming to Phoenix. I put it in our group that we have and had a couple people reach out and say, hey, man, I'll come down. And I'm glad to have you here. We connected recently from some mutual friends. And the products that you have amaze me. And, you started this hydrogen water craze.
Yep.
And if you haven't heard about it, we're going to talk about hydrogen water here. But let's get right into it. How did you come up with this hydrogen water idea?
Well, it was a result of healing my wife 20 years ago. So I can't take credit other than I figured it out, but clearly I didn't create hydrogen. That's been here a long time. But my wife was really sick. In the first 10 years of our marriage, she had thyroid issues, gynecological issues, anemia. I mean, just so many issues. And I would usually lose her for 1 week out of every month. When she was on her menstrual cycle.
Yeah.
Like she lost so much blood and she couldn't really leave the house. So what my interest was to help her heal because I like her.
Right, of course, yeah.
And so Echo is a result of her healing, and now she's doing great.
And what is your background, your doctorate in?
So I'm an ND, what's called a doctor of naturopathy, so a natural doctor.
Yep.
Before that, I was a podorthist. At that time, I was not a doctor yet. I was a podorthist. So
what is a podorthist?
Ankle down.
Okay.
Was scope of practice.
Okay.
But it was really having to do with diabetes and preventing
loss of limb,
ulcers, and
My grandfather, right before he passed away, he was in his early 80s, I think, and they cut his leg off from knee down. And he was already going to pass. They knew that he didn't, but they still did that anyway and put him through that. So, but so you were preventing that from people. Yeah.
Yes. So in a 15-year period, because of people simply wearing shoes that were the proper size, we cut amputations in this country down by 65%.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
People wearing too tight of shoes?
Yeah.
Or
and because they have neuropathy, they lose their feet and toes because they don't know there's a problem.
Right.
They don't feel there's a problem.
Yeah.
And so my whole life at that point, I had a shoe company that we had multiple widths and sizes, and we had specific inserts that went under the feet to spread pressure so that you don't have an ulcer. Because if a person with diabetes gets an ulcer, it takes 3 to 4 times as long to heal.
I'm thinking about that
as
before.
you and I. So it's a dark, warm, moist environment, perfect for bacteria and issues, and
And so, all right, so then were you still dealing with ankle down when your wife got sick? And then what was the process like? Did you just have enough and you just said, I got to figure this out?
So it's a crazy story. People love it. I've been saying the story, and it's what happened, and it's a beautiful story. So we had some very close friends. They had an organic food store in Kissimmee, Florida, which is where we lived at the time. I lived in Kissimmee Bay Country Club, and we had these friends that had an organic food store. Half their business was people coming to Disney World, buying organic food from them for their condos. Well, we all know 9/11 occurred. People weren't flying anywhere. And so what happened? Their business lost half their revenue, at least 50%. They were in trouble. Came to me and another friend and said, can you help us financially? I said, yes. And they said, you know the story. We're going to pay you back in 3 months.
Right.
And of course, that never happens, because if you really could have, you wouldn't have needed the money. But 3 months came and gone, 6 months, a year. And I said, hey, I forgive the interest. Just pay back the principal whenever you can, kind of a deal. So another year or so, I don't even remember now, goes by, close to a 2-year cycle. What was 3 months was 2 years. That's pretty typical, right? Yeah. But at the end of it, they paid me back.
Wait a minute, but hold that note right there where we are. But did they know? How did they know you have, were you known to have money and investing and helping people, or how did they know to ask you?
We were just friends and went to church together.
Okay.
And I had 8 companies at the time.
Okay, so they had an idea you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah, we were doing fine. I was a millionaire already at 31 years old. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and they knew. I had a beach house. I had,
Yeah,
they knew. So, long story short, I loaned them the money. They paid it back. And as a thank you for forgiving the interest, they took my wife and I on a cruise. And on that cruise, they brought water. And I thought it was the strangest freaking thing I ever saw in my life. Right. Like, who freaking brings water on a cruise?
Isn't it funny when people are innovative or they're onto something new, they're looked at as crazy?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I was. Right after that, and that's the story. But the reality is they brought gallon jugs in a little suitcase for us and for them. This was a 9-day cruise. It was kind of the maiden voyage of the Carnival Liberty ship that left Fort Lauderdale and went, Costa Rica, Panama. It was great. So I'm like, you brought water? And they're like, yeah, don't drink the ship's water. It's toilet water. They were saying all this stuff. I'm like, oh gosh. So long story short, my wife and I get on the cruise. We didn't choose the dates because clearly this was a gift to us.
Yep.
But the first day of the cruise, Sunday morning, was my wife's first day of her menstrual cycle.
Oh, geez.
So driving from Orlando down to Fort Lauderdale, she's doubled over in pain in the back seat of the car.
Of course, timing.
Oh, yeah. So we get on the cruise, and I'm like, I'm not going to see her for a week of our 9-day cruise. Maybe she'll get 2 days of it at the end. And so that sucks, right?
Yeah.
So I get her into the cabin. She's laying down. I go to art auctions. I come back. You just doing whatever. I don't want to sit there all day, but I don't want to be a jerk either.
Right.
So I'm doing what I do. And she said, hey, babe, I'm thirsty. Can I have some water? Sure. I pour the magic water, right? And I give her the water. She drinks it. She's like, can I have some more of that? I'm like, sure, babe. So I keep, and then she's like, I can't stop drinking it. And she puts her hands together and is like,
what?
My body is craving this. Like, I can't stop. And I'm like, what? So I give her the water. Within a day and a half, she's up and around on that cruise and participating fully on that cruise. And I'm like, oh gosh. So I talked to my friends and I'm like, hey, what happened? Like, what is this? You brought this water. I didn't think anything of it, but what is this? They're like, oh, that's what saved the company. That's how we were able to pay you back, is we added that water to our business and people are buying water by the gallon.
Wow.
And I'm like, what?
And that was hydrogen water then?
No.
Oh,
it was alkaline water.
Okay.
Right? Which was all the craze back then.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, what exactly is it doing? Because it helped Jacqueline. They're like, yeah, we figured it would help her. That's why we brought it. I'm like, all right, that's fine. So next thing you know, she's participating. We're sitting eating lox and bagels in the morning, whatever. And I'm like, are you guys sure you don't know anything about this? Like, what is it doing? No, all we know is everybody has all these issues and they're going away. And I'm like, okay, that sounds so sketch, right? Like, I'm like, what's the mechanism? What about the guy that sold you these machines? So what they did is they put these machines in their organic food store and they're selling water $2 a gallon.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 right? All day. And they're like, we're selling 200 gallons a day now. And I'm like, 200 people come to your place. They're like about 150 because some of them get a couple gallons at a time or whatever. And I'm like, what in the world? Like, it just didn't make sense to my mind. So anyways, I'm sitting there so skeptical, but I'm like, hey, it helped my wife. So something's to this. So we go home and he's like, hey, come over to my store 2 weeks from now on Wednesday, the dude's going to be talking about it. And you can ask him all these questions because I can't answer your questions.
They just knew they were selling it.
They were selling it, save their business.
Yeah.
So I forget about it. He calls me up. Hey, where are you? I'm like, what do you mean? I'm at church. It was Wednesday night, right? I'm at church. And he's like, well, get over here. The guy's speaking, right? I'm like, okay. So I drive over there. There's this dude that's like 70 some years old, practically bouncing off the ground with every cure claim you can imagine, every possible thing that it heals. People were losing their leg and they're not losing their leg now. I mean, it was everything. And I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And one of the things he talked about was wound care. Like if you have a wound on your body, it will heal it faster.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so I said, okay, I got him. He's not going to know the answer to this question. I'm going to get him. So he comes after he's done, and Claudia, my friend, says, hey, this is Paul I told you about. And he's like, oh my gosh, it's so great to meet you. You're in diabetes. Did you know that people with diabetes, when they drink that, and he just goes, right? And I'm like, oh gosh. I said, well, I have a question for you. You mentioned up there, one of the many things you mentioned up there, you said that healing happens faster if someone has a wound. I said, what is feeding the fibroblasts that drop collagen down into the wound to heal? And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know anything about fibroblasts. So long story, I said, well, you lost me because you should not be up there talking unless you know the mechanisms and can at least say, I'm not a medical professional, but here's what I understand. At least give it a college try, right? So long story short, I didn't want to be involved with that. And so I went to go figure out what the heck was going on with this water. And it took me about 1.5 years to figure out what it was. And it was the ORP of the water, the oxidation reduction potential, which is a byprocess of hydrogen being in water, because these alkaline water machines, which are not great, by the way, but they do utilize electrolysis. And in the electrolysis process, hydrogen is a part of that,
right?
Clearly, but it doesn't stay in the water. It goes out of the water in most cases. And so the ORP of the water will stay a negative, which will help gut recovery. So what I believed at the time and now know is that helped my wife's gut enough to where she was able to have that cruise, enjoy that cruise, and have that time. But later, in that 1.5 years of really doing a deep dive, I figured out the hydrogen was king. And I said, well, these alkaline water systems don't have hydrogen because it's going out to atmosphere again. And so let me create a system that will keep the hydrogen in, because that is where the benefits really are going to come from. Imagine this helped my wife without hydrogen in the water, because I tested it later, by the way, and there was no hydrogen, even with a brand new machine, and that's the problem with the alkaline. They all have hydrogen for a few weeks. And once they're a few weeks old, they don't have hydrogen anymore. And so you lose all those benefits. So I really wanted to create water that had hydrogen gas still. And this was, again, 20 years ago, 18. And by 2009, I was developing Echo.
Wow. So, okay, you mentioned something about the alkaline water not being good.
Right.
So what's the deal with that?
So alkaline water coming from a machine that basically, because it's electrolysis, you have hydrogen ions on one side, you have high hydrogen, what's called hydroxides on the other, which is OH minus. That's why the water pH is increasing, is the hydroxides. But there's no benefit to the body by having hydroxides. There is only a benefit if it's hydrogen gas, H2. Specifically, we want H2, which is neutral. That's never going to change pH. Well, in these alkaline water machines, it's a by process when you split the water into two streams. One's going to be acid, one's going to be alkaline. But that has nothing to do with actually having hydrogen gas.
Is it harmful?
It can be.
Yeah.
If you don't have hydrogen gas in your system to create stomach acid, HCl, right? You need H to make HCl. And you put high pH water into your stomach, which is completely unnatural. Your stomach is around a 3.
Yeah.
Bile's a 1.5 with gastric juices. Let's say you're a 3, 4.
Yeah, you need it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be acid. And so when you dump something 9.5 pH, which is crazy, into the stomach, your body immediately is going to dump hydrochloric acid to reduce that pH. If you can't produce hydrochloric acid, now you've put a metabolic burden on that human being by giving them something you told them was
So people
healthy.
drinking the I don't want to say any brands, but the 9.5 bottled water and all that, it's doing more harm than good.
That's right.
Yeah. So you're better off drinking one of the other ones, like RO water that's in a bottle.
Yeah, I mean,
If you have a choice.
Yeah, if we look at the Earth, water comes out of the Earth at 5.5 to 8.4.
Yep.
That's your range.
Yep.
And it's all based on mineral content. That's all it is. It's minerals. In these electrolysis devices, it's not based on minerals. It's based on an unnatural increase of hydroxides. Now, there's no buffering capacity of that water, so it's very little buffering capacity with the stomach, but it will have buffering capacity when you're drinking a gallon of it a day.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a small amount, and your body's having to fight this. And people have what's called a Herxheimer effect, and they tell them it's detox symptoms because everyone accepts that, but it's not. It's putting your body out of balance because it's not natural to have high pH.
Now, I have a background in this. I talked to you about this on our call, but I was in the water treatment business for 9 years.
Yeah, that's right.
And I just knew enough to be dangerous. I was a salesperson. I would go in homes, test water, and then show them what they needed.
Yep.
Shout out to Rainsoft, all the people out there that know about Rainsoft back in the day. And I knew enough to be dangerous and basically just showing, compare and contrast. Really careful about the health. It's not talking about health too much because I didn't know enough and I didn't feel confident in, talking about that. But when we were going to test water and somebody had a 5.5, whatever it was in their well water, right?
Yep.
We would put a acid neutralizer in their house, which it ran through some kind of
Like a precipitator.
it was minerals, right?
Yeah.
And then it would bring the pH up.
Right.
Is that the right thing to do for people's houses?
I don't.
It was we talked about protecting their pipes, their copper pipes,
the copper,
and the
copper
fixtures.
is better to not have such a low pH. So mostly water is never going to be really low enough to harm copper on its own, but like reverse osmosis systems can. So some people that put these whole house RO, if you don't remineralize it, you can create problems with copper pipes. If you have PVC, not a problem. But if it's copper, which a lot of houses have still, you will create pinholes by having too low a pH.
Well, we would see the blue-green stains on their sinks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that was just from their well water, for example. But
Yeah. You've got a lot of things that can be in well water.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you could have E. coli. I mean, there's a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But if people are using well water, the EPA says you're supposed to test it at least twice a year to make sure you don't have anything growing in it that can be harmful.
Yep.
Typically on a well, people will put a chlorinator, a dechlorinator.
UV light.
Yeah. And then have a good filtration system for drinking water, like an RO or a softener to get the iron out, to get the fluoride. There's a lot.
But what
of
about
stuff.
RO stripping all the minerals out? Is that healthy for you? RO water.
Yeah, it's
doing
great.
that. It's not
That's
too.
kind of
It's
a
not
wise
too
tale.
pure. Okay.
No. In fact, if it was, we would see Navy ships. All those guys would have medical problems.
Yeah.
Every ship, actually.
Yeah.
Seattle, Washington, which has a 7 TDS typically in tap water, that's way better than RO. Even.
Yep.
You can't get to. It's pretty tough to get to 7
Yeah.
TDS on a typical RO, especially after
That
the membrane.
TDS is total dissolved solids.
Yes,
Yeah.
total dissolved solids.
See, I know a little bit.
There you go, Mikey. So, Seattle, Atlanta, the Carolinas, Switzerland. You've got a lot of places on Earth where there's very low mineral content naturally.
Okay.
If you live somewhere where there's granite, there's no solubility of those minerals. If you're in Florida, you're going to have high TDS because of lime and calcium is soluble. You go somewhere where it's higher mountain or high altitude, the granite doesn't dissolve.
Yeah.
So you're going to have very little content of the water. Like where I live, it's snow runoff. So if it's in an area where it's going across the earth and you can pick up minerals, fine. But like you go up to the high altitude mountain streams and you're not going to get a ton of water. So, minerals from water, here's the real thing. And I talk about this a lot. Where do minerals from water come from?
I guess where the water runs across.
Dirt, right?
Yeah.
So typically we are not sucking on rocks or wanting to get our minerals from dirt.
Right.
We should get our minerals from vegetables and food because the minerals in the dirt are inorganic.
Yep.
Plants will pull up inorganic minerals, convert it into an organic state.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking organic like non-pesticides. I'm saying organic state,
Yep.
which makes it bioavailable to the body. We really should be getting our minerals from food, not from water.
Which is a whole nother problem nowadays.
Yeah. So people are like, oh my gosh, RO is going to, or distilled water is going to take minerals from me. You drink that water.
Right.
You're 3/4 water.
Yeah.
Where's it taking it to?
Yeah.
Like, is it like sending it across the earth? It doesn't make sense, these crazy things that people say about water, because water is in you. Where's it taking minerals from?
Right.
If it's pulling it out of your system, where's it pulling it from?
Yeah.
And why?
And then where's it going?
Yeah, where's it going? and why would it do that?
Yeah.
That would mean that water needs it worse than you. So why would water, like in nature, things only rob things from other people who don't have it and they really want it.
Yep.
You know, like no one's robbing your paper towels in your house. Like that's not a need to do that, right? Things get robbed because you have a greater need, and the same is true in the body.
Yeah. And then so you figured this thing out and you decided to start a company, create a product, and your wife started like just being totally healed, never having any issues anymore?
Yeah, so within 6 months, her menstrual cycle was normal. And I was like, oh.
From that one thing.
Well, she continued. So I'm a guy, right?
Yeah,
we're guys. We're not always. So we come back off that cruise. I was just happy she was on the cruise, man. And I'm just rocking my best life, living life, growing companies.
Not feeling guilty because you're out there going,
Exactly. So time goes on and I'm not noticing that she's bettering each month. But by 6 months, we're having like a family council planning our month out. And we're like, hey, when is your cycle? And she's like, I'm on it. And we're like, what? You left the house? Like, oh my gosh. And she's like, yeah, I know, right? Like, because you don't always notice when you're getting better.
Yeah.
And so we're all like, what happened? And she's like, oh, I don't know. I just been drinking that water. I've been still been drinking that water. And I'm like, you're still drinking the water? Like, I didn't even know.
Right.
Let's
What
be
did
honest.
she end up after the cruise going down to the store and bottling?
Yeah, she was number 151, right? So she's going to get in that water, and I'm like, you've been buying water, babe? And she's like, what, you didn't notice the gallon jug in the pantry? I'm like, no, I didn't notice the gallon jug. So I'm like, oh, I really need to study it now. I really need to study what's going on, because it's changed my life. And I know this dude's crazy, but something happened.
Yeah.
I can't deny that.
Right.
So I started looking at studies. I happen to have, one of my companies was a silicone gel manufacturing company. And we made products for paraplegic and quadriplegic individuals, people like veterans who had lost their limbs and were in a chair now, or back issues or motorcycle accidents. I mean, typical things that cause paras and quads, right?
Yeah.
So I had a company. Well, one of the guys that was involved had a PhD in water from Emory University. And I said, hey, Chris, will you do me a favor? Here's all these papers that I found that all these alkaline water companies, which there wasn't many, by the way, 20 years ago. This is what they're saying. Can you read it? Because I think it's all bunk. I think it's all nonsense. So he's got a PhD. He's got a PhD in water chemistry, right?
Yeah.
So I think he's some guy. I could trust him, right?
Right.
So he comes back to me and he's like, yeah, you're correct. It's all crap, except for this one study. And I'm like, oh, you found something that's we can, make heads or tails of?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah. Buried in this, on page 31, is this graph. And it's your answer right there. And I'm looking at the graph and I see these letters DH. And I'm like, DH? And he goes, dissolved hydrogen. In this one study, the only one that was legit out of all these, it's showing that if you dissolve hydrogen gas, it can do these things in the body. And I'm like, and I got goosebumps head to toe. Like, I knew.
Because you wanted to believe in it, but you just couldn't.
Yeah. Well, I believed it was hydrogen because it's electrolysis. Yeah. What else is in water? If you're just electrolyzing water, then what is it that you're going to have? It's only hydrogen and oxygen. Right. And contaminants, but, So that confirmed for me what I believed, which was hydrogen was responsible. So now it was, what can hydrogen do for the body? And the reality is tremendous things. Like, as soon as I started, it's like the thing, ask the right question. Mm-hmm. So I started searching hydrogen, and now this was 18 years ago, And I'm finding stuff that I had no idea. I didn't know hyperbaric chambers in the United States of America were hydrogen way, way back. Right. I didn't know there were studies from 1790. I didn't know there was studies in the 1930s to 1950s. And then 1950, 1965, Japan did a big human trial, 15-year human trial. And no, it wasn't hydrogen. They were talking about alkaline water.
Right.
But they didn't understand that the pH does nothing to the body.
Right.
Because we could just put some baking soda in water and we should have the same benefits, but we don't.
Yeah.
So clearly it's hydrogen gas. It's nothing to do with the pH. And I got really passionate because that's when my wife's health really skyrocketed, was when we got hydrogen into the water and she was drinking it with hydrogen. All of a sudden, all of her issues started going away.
Did it go through your mind at all? Like, how did nobody figure this out yet?
Well, yeah. I was like, little old me.
Yeah.
What the heck, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh. Well, listen, I had a wife who was sick and I love her and I want to take care of her. And I'm that guy. Like when I got my first computer, 1993, this was even before Windows 95. I opened that thing up. What's in here? Mostly air, I can tell you.
Yeah.
But I opened up the computer. I'm like, what? And I ended up starting a computer company back in 94, 95, right? And I'm just that guy. Like, I want to know how it works.
Yeah.
I've got that engineering type brain. I'm not an engineer, but I have that mind. And I want to figure stuff out. And then, I'll be honest, God inspired my mind on that thing. So he was pushing me to figure out what healed my wife. Clearly, I know now why. We've started a whole industry, and we have millions of people that are helped now, all these years later. But at that time, I was like, my wife is better. My life is better. Yeah. There's got to be other husbands who don't know what to do because I didn't know what to do. And there's got to be other people who are suffering like my wife for no reason.
Yep.
And so what I came to understand, our bodies are designed to produce hydrogen on their own. We call it flatulence. So after today, you can call it fart therapy because it's good for you, right?
Yeah.
But the reality is we're supposed to produce hydrogen. The creator, the great engineer of our bodies, knew how critical hydrogen was and put a hydrogen generator in us. The problem is overuse of antibiotics, pesticides, all kinds of things disrupt our gut function. When our gut is disrupted, we lose the ability to produce hydrogen the way we're supposed to.
Gotcha.
And so what's the primary role of hydrogen? Managing oxidation and inflammation. That's the primary role. So that's where disease comes from.
Yeah.
If your body's not managing oxidation, it becomes oxidative stress. And then it becomes inflammation. And then if you don't do anything about it, it becomes chronic inflammation. Yep. The combination of oxidative stress and chronic inflammation is disease.
Yeah.
And you got hundreds to choose from, but that's where they come from.
And the hydrogen itself doesn't do the job itself. It's not like hydrogen goes in there and heals. It's what hydrogen does for the other things in your body, right?
Hydrogen is like a manager or a coordinator.
Yeah.
They're not doing all the heavy lifting, but everyone else is working when they're present.
Yeah.
And that's how
it's like, oh shit, hydrogen's here. We're going to get to work.
Yeah. Oh crap.
Yeah.
So hydrogen in medical terms is called a signal modulator. So it's modulating pathways to work. And let's use an example, a simple one, brain function. A lot of people suffer from ADHD, ADD, fuzzy mind, what they call a fuzzy mind, because they just don't have that clarity of thinking that they want. I even met a gentleman years ago who now sells our product, but he goes, I have 5 patents. Today, I could not write a patent. My brain, I've lost the ability.
Yeah.
So we got him some of our products and he's like, I'm back.
Yeah, because most people it's the same thing with menopause, perimenopause for women, age. It's just chalked off to age. This is just what you have to deal with.
That's right.
And then people accept that.
And it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Like we do everything in our medical state now in the United States of America. We do everything opposite of what's healthy. And we claim it's healthy. Like low cholesterol, worst thing you could do to yourself.
Yeah.
You look at longevity. I did a dissertation on longevity. Longevity, high cholesterol. People that live a long time, high cholesterol.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yet we're telling people, oh, you're going to die. No, you're not going to die from high cholesterol.
Yep.
You're going to die if your blood pressure has an issue because of oxidative stress and inflammation in the body.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Or insulin resistance.
I mean, diabetes is
Yeah.
the same issue,
Yeah,
right?
sugar.
Oxidative
Yeah.
stress and inflammation and leptin sensitivity,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if we really begin to understand what's going on, it's our lifestyle.
Yeah.
Most all these diseases are lifestyle disease.
So will we need hydrogen water if we did everything the right way?
Or
if we were able to?
That's a great question.
Thank you.
Because in the years past, people would say to me, well, if you can heal a gut with your water in 2 weeks, why can't I just rent one of your machines for 2 weeks and then return it when I'm healed?
Because they'll go back to doing the same
They'll
things.
go back.
Yeah.
Because I said, well, I'll do that deal with you. In fact, I won't even charge you. If you will promise me that you will never again eat a pesticide, never again, eat any of these things that are causing you the issue.
Yep.
Like you have to eat organic, non-GMO, but you can't even do it in this country. You got to go to Italy.
Yeah.
Because that's where real food is still.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. If you'll promise me that, yeah, I'll do that. And they're like,
Right.
oh no, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I know. So that's why you kind of keep drinking this every day. So you're fixing while you're hurting and you're fixing while you're hurting. And so we have to understand that there are chemicals in our diet, in our lifestyle, whether it's lotions you're putting on your body or it's stuff you're breathing in or it's food you're eating or water you're drinking. It's all going into your system and it is causing issues.
What is endocrine disruptors?
Oh, there's
Is that what that is? Like when you put stuff on your skin, if it has an endocrine disruptor, and is that?
Oh, it'll stop your
Yeah.
your ability to get stuff out.
Yeah.
So we can only get toxins out through peeing, pooping, sweating, or breathing.
Yep.
You only have a certain number of elimination pathways. And if your kidneys are inflamed, they're not working as well.
Yep.
You need hydrogen to get that inflammation down, and you need to get the kidneys working again and the entire pancreatic system working
Liver
again.
function.
Liver,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
But this is the reality of life is people don't have a clue what is wrong. And they think they're eating a salad, but they have diarrhea.
Yeah.
And that's because their gut's messed up.
Yeah.
But they're like, a salad's supposed to be good, but it's got a bunch of pesticides on it. So you eat those and then it destroys your gut more. And then you have diarrhea because you don't have the right bacteria. And so when we talk about gut dysfunction, what are we really talking about? We're talking about bacteria.
Yep.
And bacteria like an environment, like you and I like an environment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go live in the woods in a tent.
Yeah.
It's not my choice. I want a home. So I want a certain environment that I like. Bacteria are the same, but their environment is electrical. And so we need the gut tissue to have a certain electrical potential that's good for bacteria. So when we started this, I talked about the ORP.
Yep.
That's an electrical potential energy. And that was enough to help my wife's gut rebound. So having a negative 400 millivolts in the water, for example, versus a positive 600, like you get tap water at positive 600. You get hydrogen water, you're at negative 400 to a negative 600. That is perfect for anaerobic microflora. It loves a negative 300 to negative 400 millivolts of electrical potential in the tissue of the gut. Well, you can rehab a gut simply by putting that into the environment.
Yeah.
And that's what happened with my wife initially. But then when we got the hydrogen in, now it's modulating all kinds of things. So if we were to think to ourselves, okay, I'm going to drink some water right now, right? There's hydrogen in this.
By the way, I hammered my glass because I didn't want the hydrogen to go away.
I love it.
So, yeah.
And I got some here. It's
Yeah.
all good. But so I drink the water now. Hydrogen hits my stomach. Because there's hydrogen gas in my stomach now, it will signal gastric ghrelin. So you have leptin and ghrelin, two master hormones in the body. Mm-hmm. But ghrelin is only produced in the intestinal tract or the stomach.
Okay.
When hydrogen is present in the stomach, it will signal gastric ghrelin to go up to the hippocampus, the hypothalamus, and the brainstem within 3 to 5 minutes of drinking the water.
Wow.
So if we were to do an EEG on your head before you drank this, and we would see the landscape of your brain, and then you would have hydrogen. It would completely change plasticity. It would change normalization of alpha beta waves. It would change function, like actual function, motor skills and what have you. And typically people will feel a clarity that they don't usually have.
In
And
3 to 5
because
minutes.
That's all because of ghrelin.
So I was going to ask you what people can see instantaneously or experiencing instantaneously from hydrogen water.
Yes.
So that's one thing.
of them.
Yeah. Energy.
Yeah. Increased mitochondrial function, ATP.
Yep.
So that's absolutely going to be quick. Brain will be quick, right? Gut, within an hour of drinking, you start repairing gut. Because that's where the water's going. From the stomach down into the intestinal tract, right?
Yeah.
Through the duodenum or the duodenum, down into the small intestine, into the colon. That's where we want it's the colon.
Yeah.
So what we can literally take someone who's gluten and dairy intolerant, and within 2 weeks they can be eating gluten and dairy with no inflammation. That's pretty
Jeez.
serious.
Yeah.
It's pretty serious.
Yeah, I mean, my sister had back. This is back when lactose started to come out, and we were kids, and her stomach would always bother her so bad from milk.
Yep.
So when we're fighting bacteria in our body, when we have a bacteriological infection, is that the wrong kind of bacteria in our body, or is it the bacteria is just inflamed or just annoyed or
What
agitated?
you're talking about
like
an
if you have a bacterial
infection?
infection where you
What
need
do
to
you
take
mean?
antibiotics.
Oh.
So is that a different type of bacteria that we have in our body, or is it
Yeah. So
enraged bacteria or something?
bacteria is bacteria.
Yeah.
In our gut, we have anaerobic microflora and aerobic.
Okay.
Two main, just for today's conversation, two main types of bacteria. I'm going to oversimplify it.
Yeah. Please do.
Anaerobic and aerobic.
Yeah.
We should have only 1 to 4% aerobic.
Okay.
We should have 96 to 99% anaerobic. With antibiotics overuse, which is what we do in this country for sure,
Yep.
you will create an environment for the aerobic instead of the anaerobic, and you'll end up with more aerobic bacteria than you should have. And so automatically you will have anxiety and depression
Yeah.
because that comes as a result of those bacteria. And you'll have sugar and carb cravings versus fat and fiber. So anaerobic microflora want short chain fatty acids, medium chain fatty acids, and fiber as their food, which would be in all naturally occurring foods.
Right.
Like a carnivore diet.
But what is an infection though that we need the antibiotic in the first place? What's going on with the bacteria?
Well, the problem is most of our problems are never bacterial infections that are life threatening.
Right.
That's what an antibiotic is for. And it's only for bacterial infections. Most of the time we're getting sick, it's viral.
Yeah.
Antibiotics do nothing for viruses
But why did doctors prescribe it so easily?
because it's so available.
And it's just like, let me just
And
get
it's
this patient out of
it's
here.
like popcorn, just take it.
Yeah.
And you're sick here. And 90% of the time, or 95% of the time, it's viral, not bacterial.
Right.
Bacterial infections, when you've got an issue with the bacteria, you're dying.
Yeah.
Like bacterial infection is totally different. Like you have sepsis, right?
Yep.
That's a bacteria that's now consuming your flesh.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
Right.
We've got to kill those things. You will die from a life-threatening bacterial infection. Clearly.
But is that what causes that infection? Is it the bacteria just gets
Your immune system is not working. And so 70% of immune function is tied to gut. So when we're talking about these bacteria,
that's powerful? Yeah.
when we're talking about the bacteria being off, that means 30% immune function in most people walking around. If your gut is dysfunctioning to the point that you're allergic to food, you have low immune function every day of your life. And I would say 90% of the population in the United States of America, and the rest of the world is trying to compete with us, but 90% of the population have irritable bowel syndrome. 90% of the population have gut issues. 90% have gut issues. So you got 50, 60 million people out there that have gut issues. That means they have low immune function.
Yep. Yep.
So they're walking around susceptible. So if a bacterial infection comes, they can't do as much against it as someone else. I mean, let's be honest. I flew here this morning. Guaranteed There were people sick on that plane.
Oh, 100%.
Guaranteed I won't get anything.
Yeah.
But there will be other people that do.
Yeah.
So what's the difference? It's immune function.
Yeah.
We've learned that in the last few years that immune function is important.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, hydrogen is supposed to be produced by the gut when the gut's functioning. But when the gut's not functioning, it's a cascade of problems we suffer from. Low immune function. Mm-hmm. We can't digest foods properly. We don't have personality traits that we want. Now we're anxious and depressed and all these kind of things. It all comes from gut issues. And so
it's amazing.
Literally within 2 weeks of drinking water with hydrogen in it, people can have their personality back. They won't have the sugar and carb cravings. They won't be depressed and anxious. They'll be able to eat whatever the flip they want and not have problems.
Dude, this is crazy because I ran out of the hydrogen water access, right, recently. And I noticed that I was craving carbs.
Yeah.
I was craving sugars.
Yeah.
And I didn't have that for a while. When I was drinking hydrogen water, I didn't have that. I just noticed that like that.
Yeah.
I thought it was maybe something else going on. I was like, what the heck? Why do I feel like this?
Right. Well, that's what happens. We don't know why, right? Because we don't have the education.
I was blown away at nighttime. I had no cravings. Like, sometimes you're watching a show with the wife or something. You're like, let me get out to the kitchen real quick.
Right.
And I was like, I was so impressed with myself and proud of myself that and then recently, last 4 or 5 weeks, and I've gained weight because of it.
Oh, you will, because you're not digesting properly.
Yeah, that's wild.
Inflammation is coming back.
Yeah.
Right? So that's really what's...
And also, I noticed I got more cut.
Yes.
In my midsection.
During hydrogen.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
So there are studies on hydrogen. When you drink hydrogen water, it's like a calorie-restricted diet.
Yeah, it really is. I've experienced it.
And for men, you have testosterone increase. You have naturally occurring peptides increase in the body.
Yeah.
You have nitric oxide increased in the body. There's a lot of things that hydrogen does that if you are having a gut disruption, you're not going to have those things. So what ends up happening is, unfortunately, the supplement industry thrives because you don't have hydrogen being produced. But people that drink hydrogen water, all of a sudden, I don't need all that stuff anymore because my body's doing what it's supposed to do. And that's really what we're trying to help people understand.
That's amazing. Well, this is the flask here for those of you want to hold it up to show them. You've done a great job with the design of it too.
Oh, thank you.
It's got to work first of all, right? But then the design's good for marketing, and it looks amazing. And I have one here in the box, and I appreciate you helping me out with that because I need to get back on it.
Yeah, so you can see, I don't know if you can see, but the little bubbles, can you see it? Maybe.
Yeah, we can. I can see it from here. Yeah, on that
so
screen.
The little bubbles, that's hydrogen gas. The difference: 99% of the hydrogen products on the market are scam products. Ever since Joe Rogan talked about Echo Water, it 10x'd our company 2 years ago. 2.5, maybe 3 years ago now. But the reality is, on the bottom, can you see the little blue?
Yep.
That's where oxygen's coming out in our bottle. The other bottles don't have that on the market. Most of them. Like I said, 99%. There's 1% out there that does. Mm-hmm. But we're just putting hydrogen gas in. So what we're really doing here is taking water molecules, H2O, that are hydrogen and oxygen, but they've combined to make a liquid. They're not gas anymore.
Yep.
We're separating them back into gas. Oxygen gas coming out here, just the H2 gas going in. And we're dissolving it. We're building pressure up. You can hear, right?
Yep.
That's how we build up about 64 psi of pressure on a 10-minute cycle in here so that you end up with over 6 parts per million, which is tons of hydrogen. So the reality here is we're just giving you hydrogen gas. We're not giving you chlorine and ozone like the other scam products on the market. You're just getting pure hydrogen gas that we're creating from water. So people ask all the time, what's hydrogen water? Like, isn't hydrogen already in water? No. There's no hydrogen gas in water naturally, unless you go to the healing waters in the world, like Lourdes, France. And they've now tested every one of these naturally occurring healing waters. They all have hydrogen in them.
Would you call this holy water?
I wouldn't, but people do.
Yeah.
I call this echo water.
Yeah, I was making a joke.
But it is holy and it is healing, and it definitely helps people. When you're talking about 1,500 studies 200 disease models: cancer, diabetes, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's,
Yeah.
rheumatoid arthritis, bipolar, schizophrenia. Like, it's crazy.
And how much hydrogen water should people be drinking? Like, should you not drink regular water?
No. You don't have to have all your consumption of water be hydrogen water. Like 30 ounces a day, 36 ounces a day is great for hydrogen water.
Yeah.
That's like 3.
Yeah, spread it out throughout the day.
3 of these is 36 ounces. So 3 to 6 a day. But you can have other water the rest of the time. That's perfectly fine. That's plenty for hydrogen concentration. Getting hydrogen into the body, you don't need to have all your water be that. But people are chronically dehydrated. 54.5% of the population in the last Harvard study showed 54.5% of the human beings are chronically dehydrated. So they're not drinking water. They're drinking a bunch of other stuff, but they're not drinking water. And when you're chronically dehydrated, your energy levels will be lower. Mm-hmm. Your brain will not function. You're not peeing and pooping. You can't make poop or pee without water.
Yep.
And so the reality in all of this is we've got to get water back into our diet. And not like, oh, I'm drinking Coke, so there's water in there and that counts. That's not the same, because there's a lot of stuff in that water that makes it.
What about making coffee with hydrogen water? Should you do that or no?
You can. You're going to
There's no
lose the
benefit.
hydrogen.
There's no benefit
when it's hot.
Yes, no benefit.
But I would say first and foremost, people need to get pure water or contaminant-free water.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing people need to do, is start drinking water and get the contaminants out. Don't be a filter, buy a filter.
Yeah.
That's what they need to do.
Yeah.
And of course, we have the best whole house systems in the world. We have RO systems, that are tankless. It makes a quarter gallon a minute of RO water. So that's like water 101. Is like, let's get some clean water into our life so we don't have so many toxic chemicals. Then let's dissolve some hydrogen gas so that it helps our body, our skin, our eyes, our brain, our hair.
So Echo, is that the whole house filtration systems? There's Echo water systems?
That's Eco.
Okay.
ECO.
Okay, that's different.
We're ECHO.
Okay, that's different. Yeah,
and we have the Echo Pure whole house system.
Okay.
And we have 4 levels of that. We go as deep as you want to go, because we can get forever chemicals, glyphosate, heavy metals, whatever you want out of water, it's out with our most expensive.
So with that being said, I want to talk about the business side of things.
Yeah,
And you've run businesses successfully for a while.
Yeah.
The time we have left. So when you discovered this, can you take us through the process of a startup in this and how you blew this company up? Because by the way, you're working with celebrities and athletes, and I want to also, if you can touch on, how did you create these relationships with these people, these famous people?
That's a great question. So in 2011, when we launched, we were doing around $3 million a year that first year.
Selling flasks or filters?
No, we didn't have these yet. We had a water machine.
Okay.
So we had a machine that filters the water and sits on the counter or goes under sink and makes the hydrogen water.
Okay.
That was the first. And we continue innovating. We continue to make better and better. By 2014, we had the first neutral pH hydrogen water system. And we started launching the bottles, rechargeable battery operated bottles, in the 2014, 2016 range.
And bootstrap, or did you raise capital at all?
Bootstrap.
Okay.
And I've never taken a penny.
Okay.
With Echo.
Yeah.
And so I've never taken money with any of my companies, actually. Yeah. So it's good when you can do that.
Yeah, of course. I'm always a fan of that.
Yeah.
Sales, man. Marketing, sales.
Yeah, like sell something.
Grind it out, man. Get it going. Yeah.
So anyways, by 2000.
But to get to 3 million, how are you marketing? Like, how did you get that revenue started?
So I was on radio shows.
Okay.
I was on people mostly in the natural medicine industry, chiropractors. We started going to trade shows, and we were presenting, and everyone thought I was crazy talking about hydrogen. And then 2 years later, I was brilliant. Right? That's what happened. But we were at trade shows. We were selling. I was at A4M. I was at all these places, and we were selling machines. And so that's really what happened, is going to trade shows and then being on a radio show initially, and then speaking at conferences. And then I got a really big blessing I was in a documentary called Truth About Cancer that 20 million people watched.
Gotcha.
And that increased our revenue. And I ended up doing a webinar type program where we had about 15 of the highest end natural medicine celebrities. Like these people had $1 million, $2 million on their list.
Yeah.
And so we started doing webinars, and we were doing around $1 million a month in webinar sales. And that increased us where that's when we got to Inc. 5000, 2 years in a row, 587% growth during that 2019, 2020 time period. Yeah. And then naturally, as word started getting out, some really cool people started noticing.
And they would just reach out to you, or how would that happen?
They would reach out to the company, of course, and then end up talking to me. And because we were the first, because we were the original company and always have been the biggest in the space, they would reach out to us and want to try the product. But really things didn't blow up until Joe Rogan. Gary Brecka went on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Oh, I listened to that one,
and he talked about our water.
Yeah.
Gary had been promoting our water for 6 years.
Okay.
4 years at that time. And then he went on Joe Rogan to talk about, really, it was our previous bottle to this.
Gary was a lifeguard in Ocean City, Maryland, where I live.
Oh, really?
When he was younger, yeah.
Oh, wow.
When I was talking to him the first time I was hanging out with him, he's like, Ocean City? He's like, I was a lifeguard there. And Skip's like the chief lifeguard of the beach patrol or whatever.
Yeah,
he goes to my church.
Oh,
and I told him, I said, Gary Brecka blew up. Did you know that? He said, no, I didn't even know that. Yeah. So
that's great.
Yeah. So, okay. So, what was the first celebrity that you remember that reached out, or the first big name that kind of blew your mind?
Well, okay. So Gary sold to Kendall Jenner 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And he started promoting our product. So it was Kendall Jenner was probably the biggest name that ever got an ecosystem.
Yeah.
Before that was, the gentleman who is the host of America's Funniest Home Video now. And then...
Yeah. His name's on the tip of my tongue. I can see him. He also hosted Dancing with the Stars, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
And years ago, Beverly Hills, with Will Smith and him were brothers. And so Carlton, remember he did the dance? Yeah. So...
Oh, Carlton. Yeah. Alfonso
Rivera. Yeah. So his wife reached out and was like, we want your water system. So they purchased it. And I remember being on the phone, and Antonio Ribeiro put in his own system. Like, I had so much respect for this dude. Plenty of money, plenty of cash, success, fame, right? And he's literally underneath his sink in his home in California. And I'm on the phone with him telling him how to put it in. And he's listening to me going, okay, did that. Yeah. Okay, did that. Okay, it's in. Oh, yeah, it's working great. And then they're like, hey, we're moving to Austin because we want to get to LA for COVID.
Yeah.
And we want to put a unit in our coach. Is that cool? Yep, that's cool. So there's been really cool moments like that. I would say like the Ben Greenfields of the world was the first biohacker to ever get our stuff and put it in his home.
Ben's in our group.
Years ago, he got our system. But Gary's first person he sold was Kendall Jenner.
Yeah.
And I talked to her and her people on the phone because of Gary, and she had gut issues. And I said, this is going to help you. Yeah. Well, she was dating Devin Booker at the time. Yeah. And so she told Devin, you need this too. So I ended up at Devin Booker's house, and I was overseeing the installation of the unit. And who knows if he drinks it or not. I've never spoken to him, but I was at his home when they put it in. And then Devin loved the water so much that all of her family, the Kardashians and her, the Jenners and the Kardashians, fell in love with the water. And then they all reached out. We're like, we're sick of going to her house to get our water. They were literally filling up containers and taking it to their house to have drinking water. They're like, we all want your system. And so it just kind of grows like that. And then we introduced a couple years ago a bath unit. And Jake Paul got it, Leonardo DiCaprio, The Rock, all these guys started getting it. Ronaldo has everything that we have. And it just started growing as people were hearing about it more and more and more. More and more people would come through other people. It's like all of a sudden I get an email or whatever. Carlos Santana. Yeah. There was a guy that called and he's like, hey, I know Carlos Santana. He's going on tour. This was a year and a half ago. And he wants your bottle for him and his wife when they're on tour. And I'm like, are you serious?
That's wild, man.
That is cool. Like Carlos Santana is amazing. I was going to say rock star, but
Yeah,
he
of
is
course.
literally, right?
I have these moments in the podcast space that I'm in where I'm hanging out with people and I'm like, you know, I was with Tucker Carlson, RFK Jr. in Vegas one time in a green room because we were speaking the same thing. And I'm just like, how the hell did I get here?
Right.
It's just wild.
It's God.
And it is. But
I
you know,
have to give the credit.
I tell my family, and they unless it's some YouTuber, my kids don't give a crap.
Yeah.
But I'm like so excited, and they're just like, whatever. But I'm like, this is crazy.
You know, I have
You
to
know?
give credit where credit's due because I understand my nothingness, you know, without
Yeah.
him. But at the same time, I do what I do, and I'm decent at it, right?
We're created to create.
Yeah. And I'm a creator for
Yeah,
sure. I'm
yeah.
a creator, and I love business. I started my first company in high school, car stereos and alarms, because that's what I was interested in. So, you know, I've grown some large companies. I'm pretty good at that, actually.
Did they call you Paulie?
Yeah.
Did you have like a white beater on?
Yeah. No, so I don't have the hair for it. But anyways, you know, that's who I am. You know, my last name Barattiero means barter, trade, swap, or business in Italian.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
you know, it's just in my DNA. I love business. I love people.
Yeah.
And I just feel like if we can be honorable in our business relationships, you do well typically.
Yep.
If we screw people, you don't do well.
Right.
And you can spend 30 years doing all the things right.
Yep.
And one decision, right, can mess all that up. But the reality is, for me, having all these celebrities is really cool because now it's such a long list. We show graphics with them in there, and there people are like,
Are they cool? Are they cool with you saying? How does that work?
Yeah. Like we use their images. I mean, I remember when Zac Efron, who was an amazing individual.
Yeah.
Dr. Pompa. I don't know if who's
Yeah.
Dr.
He's a client friend of ours. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So Dr. Pompa is one of my dearest friends.
Yeah.
And he's
Love
been
him.
supporting Echo.
He's been on the show too.
Oh, he's
Yeah.
amazing. I love that freaking, and oh my gosh, he's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
So they're amazing people, and they've been through hell and back.
Yeah,
right?
they have.
And so I understand that because you get attacked when you do well at anything.
Mm-hmm.
You get attacked, and I've been attacked, and I prevail. Every time we prevail, we come out 10 times the size bigger, right?
Yeah.
Well, Dr. Pompa is amazing, and he's promoted my water for years, and he introduced me to Zach because Zach came to him to get help with detoxification.
Wow.
So
So you didn't tell me that.
Yeah, so
That's awesome.
So I met with Zach for 2 hours, and he was on a mono diet. So here's a guy with all the money you could imagine, all the good looks
that's
you could
crazy.
imagine, fame. I mean, who doesn't know who Zac Efron is? He's a freaking amazing
He's
guy,
funny.
right?
I like that dude.
And he's so humble and kind.
Yeah.
He's full of love.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting at Pompa's house because Dr. Pompa was out of town.
Yeah.
I'm sitting at his house, just Zach and I on the back porch chilling for like 2 hours. And long story short, he goes, I can only eat about 5 things. And I'm like, Zach, I don't understand.
That's unacceptable.
I said, I don't understand why you're on a mono diet. Like sitting in front of you, I gave this to you 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And you're not drinking it the way you're supposed to, right? And he goes, wait. Are you telling me that this will fix my problems if I just drink this? I said, yes. I know we were talking when you were in Australia. And but I'm telling you, if you will just do what I tell you to do, you'll be able to eat whatever you want in 2 weeks. And he goes, okay, Dr. Paul, I promise. I will only drink your water for 2 weeks, and I'll call you in 2 weeks, and we'll see if this is right. He calls me from the Hamptons in 2 weeks, and he's like, I'm eating foods I haven't eaten for 10 years, and I feel great. I'm having no inflammation, no issues. He goes, you have my permission to tell everyone I love you, and I love Echo Water. So
That's
you tell
awesome.
everybody you want. And so it's those kind of things where his life was changed.
Yeah.
What's he going to say? Don't tell anyone I had gut issues. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but there are some people out there, it's all about the dollar and they don't care about anything else.
True. And Zach's not one of those
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
I will tell you this. Rarely do we meet people that aren't mostly money driven.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say from the beginning of the conversation with Zach, he said, if this helps me, I want to help others.
I love that.
And it's not about money for
Love
me.
that.
He said, it's not about money for me. What I do to make money is other stuff.
Yeah.
And he's got a pancake mix, he makes killing with that, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, if you ever want me involved with Echo, I want in. I want to be involved on a monitor. I'll do that. But you helped me and you gave me the stuff.
Yeah.
You have my permission,
Yeah.
right? So he started out from a place of heart right?
Yeah.
And so I honor that. And listen, I know how to make money. I've made a lot of it. I make a lot of money, and I have a company that's worth a lot of money today. Several companies, but that's not the most important thing to me. There are things far more important to me than money.
Yeah.
And there are things that are far more valuable to me than money. I just happen to have money, and I've been blessed with success, and I've worked my butt off to get there. I mean, it doesn't come easy.
Yeah.
Maybe people that bought Bitcoin at 7 cents, that was easy, but they had to wait a long time.
Yeah.
But for me, I have certain things that are way more important to me than money, but I do enjoy having it because you can serve and love and lift people when you have money.
Yeah.
And that's really
So true.
That's really what
So true,
I think is more valuable. But anyway, so all these celebrities, I find personally, most of them are pretty amazing people.
Yeah.
When you get past the cameras and past all the stuff, and you're sitting in their homes or you're sitting in their presence and you're just chilling, I have the saying, everybody's breath stinks in the morning.
Yep.
And we're all the same thing. We are good at what we do in our industries. And that's
well, and the other thing I noticed too is that you're not a transactional guy.
No.
It's about transformation.
Yes.
And you didn't have to be helping those folks install their systems. You didn't have to go to their house. You didn't have to sit down with people. You could just let them buy the thing and then they go off on their way. And that, to me, man, I've been in transactional and I've ran them and transformational, and this transformational is the way to go, man. And I noticed that about you.
Thank you very
It might be the Italian in us too.
That's right. That's right.
But all right. So what's next from here as we wind down, and what's the vision from here?
We've got some pretty amazing thing happens. I can't really talk about it because it's 97% done. But I would say in the next few months, there's going to be some crazy stuff announced.
You can't break it here?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'll come back and do
All right.
that.
All right. We'll do that then.
I'll make that.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, it's pretty serious.
Yeah.
And
Awesome.
it's going to be incredible for us and for the world. And so
Love
it's, and I feel gratitude. I have to say, I feel gratitude for these kind of relationships because when your product is good, people will talk about it. When you take care of them, they'll really talk about it.
Yep.
And they feel like, oh, this is something I can actually go to risk and talk about. So I'm very excited because Echo is going to 10X again this year. Like,
It's amazing.
It's going to go nuts here very soon. And I am very grateful for that. I'm very grateful. And so my job is to stay clean so that the blessings continue to come.
Perfect.
And
Perfect
so,
way to say it.
Yeah, that's what my job is to be a
love
good
it.
steward.
Yep. I love it.
Yeah.
I pray that every day, man.
Yeah,
God,
man.
let me be a good steward with everything you give me.
That's right.
Yeah. I love that. I think that was my favorite part of the whole show.
Awesome, brother.
Yeah. All right. Where can people go find these Echo systems?
EchoWater.com. So there's two things I want to tell them. If they're a geek or they just want to learn the stuff, go to hydrogenstudies.com. I own that site. There's nothing on it but studies having to do with hydrogen.
Good.
Go type in organ, type in disease, type in whatever issue, arthritis, whatever you want to learn about to see if it's connected to hydrogen. So hydrogenstudies with an S.com. That's one place to go. When you want to see our products, go to echowater.com. And I know you don't know I did this, but if you are in the shopping cart, there's a place for a coupon code, put in That1, and that will
awesome.
give you
Thank
an
you.
exclusive discount for your purchase, whatever it is, doesn't matter. But echowater.com. And then if you are on Instagram, please go like us on Instagram. Echo Hydrogen. All
right.
I believe is what it is. But anyways, thank you so much.
No, thank you. It's been my pleasure. Thank you so much for being here, sharing the vulnerable story too about your wife
Yeah.
and everything. And it means the world to me that you flew out here just to come on the show. I really do. I thank God every day for opportunities like this to come my way, and it means the world to me. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, brother.
All right, folks, that's it. That one here in Phoenix, Arizona with Dr. Paul, Echo Water. Go check it out. And, make sure you do your own research too. You can just do it and hope it works. It will. But you need to know why, feel better about it. Go check it out. And also hit subscribe or follow at the top of your favorite podcast platform. It's your boy C-Rock here. That1 Podcast. Until next time, be that one.